Welcome back, Three Bridge Fanatics. We're back again. This is day 8. We actually have a surprising twist. We have dark beer, supposedly. The Dunkel Weiss beer, so it should be a dark wheated beer. It's a top fermented beer, and technically the Kitra that it says just means that it's a festival beer. And as Chris and I were just discussing before we started to roll tape here, that might actually mean that it's more similar to a Marzen or an Oktoberfest, maybe.
Yeah, normally, if it's a festival beer, historically, Marzens are actually a newer style. They were not always here from the onset of Oktoberfest. So before that, breweries might have just made whatever they had going on, and they might be pursuing that still today. I mean, Dunkel just means dark. So this is not necessarily like a crazy, wild offshoot here. It's top fermented, so it is an ale. This is an ale, not a lager. So we're talking about something that could have a little bit more of an estery profile if it is a little bit more of a non-temperature controlled environment. But we're only going to find out one way, so this is pretty exciting though. It's a fun looking can. It looks like maybe your 6th grade child drew this for you.
It's a devil with his nips poking out, eating some,
Pretzel
a pretzel or sausage and
drinking some beer. His nips are on there. It's very, there was a beer that actually came out in America like this that got a lot of flack because it was considered like unsavory by the TTV. But
this can actually reminds me of, I think it's Arrogant Bastard.
Okay, yep. Yeah, the demon iconography in beer is very high. I don't know if that's just because it's a vice or what, but I mean, cool, I'll embrace it,
Yeah. So this is actually one of the first beers that the ingredients actually list out different types of malt. So there's barley, wheat, and roasted barley in this beer. And the roasted barley malt should give it some of that smoky flavor that we were thinking was going to be in that Marzen, as it was listed as a roasted beer.
Yep.
So it's going to be interesting. It should be dark. We should see probably some hints of chocolate if it's a roasted malt.
And the Weiss beer side of it, the wheat being there, that's a higher protein content than barley would normally have. So you're going to also have a more full-bodied, robust character to the actual beer overall when you drink it. Yeah. So that's exciting too because we've been kind of getting beat down by Hellas's and Pilsners for a while, which is great, but also it's like, man, sometimes you want something that you can chew on a little bit. So
that's real German beer. So we should see probably a dark mahogany-ish color out of this kind of, for those Three Bridge Fanatics, kind of like Barbarian is there on the board, a dark color. We should see, there's a train going by, lovely. Maybe a fruity flavor. The app had it listed as there might be banana characteristics.
Oh, so, and that's, Colin is a Hefeweizen 200 cents, so this could be kind of wild. I don't know if stylistically that would be appropriate for a Dunkel. And that's the other two. These guys are kind of crossing a few lines here. Dunkel Weiss beer is kind of a mashup of multiple styles, so we're going to have to be kind of weird here in our rating. But
it might get higher than it deserves just because of that.
Yeah, we might have to be a little more forgiving, but we'll find out here. I mean, I'm not against that. Normally in a dark ale, you might get more of those dry fruits, those raisins, those dates. So I love that flavor. I hope it's here. I think we should get into this and make sure
It did win a European Beer Star Award in both 2017 and 2020. So
a European Beer Star Award.
Not quite. I got a little water in my cup still. Had to rinse it out from yesterday. Had some schnuff in it. I'm getting not a great head on this beer.
Mine's pouring well, but I don't know.
Oh, there we go.
And honestly, we talked about micro bubbles last.
I got the yeast in there. That's definitely a Hefeweizen.
This could be.
I can smell the banana before I even smell the beer.
Right, and that is an ester profile of a chemical compound of isoamyl acetate, which is essentially the banana character in beer. So, they have bred yeast to make this more profound than certain things. I'd imagine this was meant to do that.
Wow, that banana. So I have not sniffed that, and I can smell very strong that banana characteristic.
And so dark Hefeweizens are interesting because they'll sometimes taste like a banana split. Like you can imagine like a banana with ice cream on it, another character, and then that chocolate over the top. This can be a really fun dessert beer. I'm really hopeful that it's going to be down that line.
Yeah. This one's rocking at 5.6%. The community rated it 3.43, so a little bit less than a couple days ago, but more than yesterday.
Right. I mean, aroma-wise, how do you feel? I mean, you got the.
I mean, that's a lot of banana. I can smell some chocolate. So I'm very hopeful for this beer. However, the head retention on it, as we noted yesterday, we're talking adamantly about, is not great.
No, it's definitely killing itself fast. But I mean, that is, in craft, that's more acceptable. I mean, there's definitely a lack of carbonation sometimes. And you would expect more from this because it does have wheat going on overall. And wheat is definitely.
Kind of don't want to disturb this too much, as there's a lot of yeast and suspension still in the beer.
But then, a lot of times,
putting the bottom of that can pretty hard.
If they can't like that, sometimes it's intentional. Some people say you pour slow or whatever, but in a beer that's like a Hefeweizen, they might want you to have that because it's going to give that, it's going to really pop out that the ester profile. I don't,
There's nothing wrong with the smell. There's no.
My big thing is aroma-wise. It says it's a dark Hefeweizen. I wish they would say it's Hefe. So Hefe means heavy, so heavy, heavy wheat, right? This doesn't necessarily strike me that way yet, but I mean, we could give them that, and if we give them that, then I think that the aroma and the appearance is spot on. So I don't have any reason to dock them on those. And these I feel are easy.
I feel like it's maybe an 11 out of 12 on aroma, but the appearance being a dark mahogany color, just like I said, we're going to be, yeah.
Right.
I think we take a point in that division.
I can get behind that. The aroma is a little lackluster in the sense that there are things going on there that are not the banana or the roasted character. I don't know.
There's something else there that I can't, as the layman, can't quite make out.
Yeah, that sometimes those things come together in the flavor because, like in the last beer we had yesterday, it was, or not yesterday, but the day before. I'm gonna lose track of time here, but the one that had the sulfury component.
Oh, the Marzen?
Yeah, we expected there to be a different acidic component, and it wasn't there when we ended up tasting it. That really helps kind of piece together the puzzle. So hopefully, when we taste this, we can kind of go back, and if we need to, we can retcon our aroma a little bit, maybe. But with that being said, let's get into the flavor here.
I'm so hopeful for this.
We like dark beers here. New Brew just had to throw out a bunch of dark beers because of the equipment failure, so we're pretty hard up for dark beers right now. So we'd be very thankful. It is nice. It's really easy drinking, and it's not. I saw him acetate that banana character is not overwhelming.
Not like it is on. It's overwhelming on the nose. I will give it that, but it's not on the palate. Like it's there on the palate, but
yeah, I like this.
That genuinely tastes like Chris was saying, like a banana split.
Yep. It's got everything in there. Even there's like elements of like almond extract. There's elements of like almost like a. You could almost put the maraschino cherry on it too. You know what I mean? Like it's present.
The app also said that this beer will go great with like a goulash or a roast or like a chocolatey dessert. Even though this is definitely not something that I would classify as a dessert beer, I can definitely see it going well with like a chocolate ice cream or something along those lines.
Being an ale, it's full bodied, it's robust. The flavor profile on it is intense. It's not like something that is like it's not lackluster. It's not like any of these lagers that we've been drinking. This is an ale and it is full bodied and it is ready to go with a ton of flavor. I mean, it needs something to contend with if it's going to be eaten with or drink with food.
I like how it, like as it sits on your palate, like how it develops. I really, really like how it's developing on the palate.
Yeah, this is something you could literally, if someone wanted to tweak this just a little bit, you could really, really couple this, in the American market. One or more of these dessert beers, things like we do here, like key lime pie ale, or our strawberry shortcake ale. Like this could be a dessert. It's one or two stages away of infusions from being.
Yeah. It just needs a little bit of that chocolate infusion, either chocolate or some more sweetness, and you could legitimately call this a dessert.
It's almost like a fruitcake, you know?
I quite like this.
Yeah, I like it too. I think, man, it's hard because I don't want to be too giving on this, but I feel like I know mouthfeel it's fine because this is exactly what you'd expect from a ale. So.
Silky smooth, silk. Like for those of you who drink the Nitro Guinness, like even because it's not a nitro, it has a very similar smoothness to it.
Right, I agree. Yeah, it's extremely. It's not overcarbonated. The body on it is largely seems to be from the residual malt that is non-fermentable. It is a well-balanced beer. I mean, flavor-wise, there is some ester component. I don't know if that means a huge reduction in points.
I was thinking like an 18.
I was actually vibing the same exact number, so I think an 18 is a fair number for it. This is a good beer. This is not something that you're gonna be mad about getting. Now, if you don't like funky beers, you don't like funky profiles, this could be not for you, but stylistically, it's a hard thing to criticize.
I mean, for a Weiss beer, for being a dark Weiss beer, this is pretty much on point. You're not going to get much better than this.
Right, and I mean, there's the raisined date characteristic is present in here too. It's interesting because you kind of get lost in that banana and that chocolate character, but that dried raisin, the dried grape, the dried fruit character, it is present, and that tells me that they might have in that roasted malt, they might have used a little bit of caramel 120 possibly. They're not talking about everything that's dark malt is roasted, so this is delicious. I mean,
and one thing I do want to note, so some people are weird about floaties in their beer. However, with a Weiss beer, that's yeast that's coming out of the bottom of the bottle, bottom of the can. If you ever had a Blue Moon that is any sort of aged, and I mean aged loosely as in like not fresh off the production line, you're still gonna have some yeast that's in that bottle. And that's stylistically appropriate. You just wanna let that beer settle a little bit, have that yeast in the bottom,
Some people, it's also you find people saying that it's a personal preference. Some people like that estery profile, they want it to be amped up to 10, so they'll shake it around and swirl it. And other people are trying to keep that down, they'll try and drink off the top after it's up. So, I mean, overall, this is a cool beer because whereas a lot of beers are focused on the malt profile, the hop profile, this is a yeast forward beer. This is a beer that has yeast at the front of what it's trying to show you. The malts are kind of secondary, and there's almost no hop character whatsoever. So, for somebody who doesn't like hops, that wants to have something that's a unique experience that they could really, wrap their head around in an enjoyable way that's going to make them feel like they're having a new experience, I think this is a perfect beer for what they're saying it is. Overall, I have a hard time actually not giving it a 10 out of 10, to be honest with you. Like, I think for what it is, I'm not very critical of it overall. My impression of it is very positive.
I was thinking a 9, but
A 9? Yeah, I mean, what was your thinking on the 9? You think?
so my
Not to push out the spot.
my overall impression is I wish it didn't smell so much like banana, because it doesn't hit on the palate so much like it smells. Like we opened the cans and I was like, wow, I was expecting it to just be banana.
I can get behind that. I mean, technically, this is not a Hefeweizen. It's a Weiss beer. And a wheat beer should not necessarily have that much character of that. Stylistically, it doesn't say it's a dark Hefeweizen. It says it's a Dunkel Weiss beer, which means it's a dark wheat beer. That's not the same thing. A wheat beer is generally clean. That banana character, well, we enjoy it, clearly, is not actually stylistically appropriate fully. At the level of intensity it is. I think that our enjoyment clearly speaks to the fact we should have a high score, but that one knockout point I think is a fair thing to do. So I'm with you. 9 out of 10, I think. Perfect.
And Dad, I know you're watching. I think this one will be probably your favorite thus far. So it's a very good beer. I think you'll enjoy it.
That brings us to, this is a 46 out of 50. This is a very good beer. I would recommend this to anybody who likes dark beers, likes flavor, likes intense flavors. We're talking about anyone who likes Hefeweizens will probably dig this quite a bit. If you are planning on having people over for a big dinner, it's not even a robust dinner, this would be a great thing to accompany it. Yeah, this is a good beer. It's not perfect, but it's not anything far from it. So,
I would be actually pleasantly surprised if this is what I asked for a beer at somebody's house that I was having a bunch of people over for like a roast or whatever, and they're serving a bunch of people, and this is what they poured. This would go great with a prime rib, even a chuck roast.
Yep, agreed. Excellent.
Excuse me.
Well, that being said, we're gonna peace out with this one here. I think soon now.
Okay.
We're gonna move on. We'll see you on day 9 of Advent Calendar Fun. Hopefully, we get another fun style like the Dunkelweiss, because this is a surprise for us, and we're always excited to be surprised. So,
Maybe we can convince Kyle to come back.
man, I think he's gonna want to come back after he sees this one. Because before he was all scared. Everyone's scared that we're gonna have Hellas's for days because of the first few. But now that we're getting these kind of Marzen, Dunkelweiss,
Watch it be like when as soon as he comes back, we're just gonna have Hellas.
that serves him right. So, with that being said, thank you guys for tuning in. We'll catch you guys on the flip side, and we can't wait to see you on day 9 of our Advent calendar.